Introduction to the hidden gems of the truck market. There are 5 pickup trucks sitting on used car lots right now that nobody is paying attention to. Not the Tacoma, not the F-150. I am talking about trucks that will run 300,000 miles on nothing but oil changes and basic maintenance, selling for thousands less than they should because of one stupid reason. They are not the truck everybody already knows about. After 22 years of turning wrenches, I have watched people blow $25,000 on a clapped-out Tacoma with 140,000 miles while these 5 trucks sit there with better engines, lower miles, and price tags that make absolutely no sense. And truck number 1, that is the one I have been quietly recommending to every customer who will listen. Not a single one has come back with a complaint. Not one. Today, I am counting down my 5 most bulletproof pickups you can buy right now for under $15,000. The ones the market has not figured out yet. I am going deepest on number 1 because once the YouTube algorithm gets a hold of this, these prices are gone. Let's get into it. Top 1, Chevrolet Colorado with the 3.6L V6. Number 5 is a mid-sized truck that most people skip right past because they are stuck on the idea that a Chevy truck has to be a Silverado, and that is exactly why you can pick up a solid one right now for $12,000 to $15,000. I had a guy come in about 6 months ago. He was in his mid-30s and wanted a truck for weekend projects, hauling mulch and towing a small boat on occasion. He was dead set on a used Toyota Tacoma. He found a 2016 Tacoma with 118,000 miles for $24,500. I pulled up a 2017 Chevy Colorado LT with a V6, crew cab, and 72,000 miles. Price, $14,800. More horsepower, lower miles, $10,000 less. He bought it. That was 6 months ago. He has put about 8,000 miles on it, towed his boat a dozen times, and you know what he has spent on repairs? Zero. Not a dime. Here is what nobody tells you about the second-generation Colorado from 2015 to 2022. The 3.6L V6 in these trucks puts out 305 horsepower. That is more power than the Tacoma's V6 ever made, more than the Frontier, and more than the Ranger. Starting in 2017, Chevrolet redesigned the 3.6L with a simplified timing chain system and addressed the direct injection carbon buildup issue with an integrated oil separator. The 2017 and newer 3.6L engine is legitimately strong. The 8-speed automatic paired with the V6 had some early torque converter shutter issues, but GM issued updated transmission fluid and a flush procedure that resolved it. If you are buying one, just ask if the fluid has been updated. If it has not, budget $250 for a flush and you are golden. Repair Pal gives the Colorado a 4 out of 5 reliability rating, and the frequency of repairs is low. Average annual repair cost sits around $599, which is right in line with the midsize truck average. Towing capacity with the V6 hits 7,000 lbs. That puts it ahead of the Tacoma in nearly every measurable category. When you are inspecting a used Colorado, check 3 things. Pull the transmission dipstick. If the fluid is dark or smells burnt, walk away or negotiate hard. Look underneath for frame rust, especially on trucks from northern states. The Colorado's frame is solid, but road salt does its damage. Test the infotainment system. Early Colorados had sluggish touchscreens. Not a deal breaker, but factor in $200 to $300 for an aftermarket head unit if it is bad. Bottom line, you are getting a mid-sized truck with V6 power, real towing capability, and GM parts availability at a price that makes the Tacoma tax look criminal. The only reason these are cheap is because people still think mid-size means underpowered. They have not driven one of these. Top 2, Nissan Titan with the 5.6 LV8. This is the pickup truck that time forgot. Nissan built this to go head-to-head with the F-150, the Silverado, and the Tundra. And when it did not sell in those numbers, the market just pretended it did not exist. That is great news for you. A first-generation Titan from 2004 to 2015 with the 5.6L Endurance V8 is one of the most underappreciated full-size trucks ever built. You can find these right now for $8,000 to $14,000 depending on year and mileage. A 2012 Titan SV Crew Cab with 95,000 miles is around $2,500. Try finding any full-size V8 truck from Toyota or Ford in that condition at that price. You cannot. The 5.6L VK6DE V8 makes 317 horsepower in the earlier models and was bumped to 390 in later years. This engine has been in Nissan's lineup across multiple platforms, including the Armada and the Infiniti QX56, and it has a proven track record of going well past 200,000 miles with basic maintenance. It uses a timing chain, not a belt. No turbo to fail, no complicated variable valve timing system to worry about on the earlier models. It is about as straightforward as a full-size V8 gets. The 5-speed automatic transmission in these is not fancy, but it is durable. It does not have 10 gears trying to find the right ratio. It shifts, it holds, it works. Real mechanics appreciate simplicity, and this drivetrain is exactly that. Here is the thing most people do not realize. The Titan was built at Nissan's Canton, Mississippi plant, and Nissan over-engineered the frame and suspension specifically to prove it could compete with Detroit. The fully boxed frame is beefy. The rear axle is a proper Dana unit. These are not corners that got cut. Inspection checklist for the Titan. First, check the exhaust manifold bolts. They are known to crack, especially on 2004 to 2007 models. You will hear a ticking noise on cold start that goes away when warm. It is about a $500 repair and not urgent, but use it to negotiate. Second, look at the radiator for any signs of coolant weeping. Some early models had radiator issues that could affect the transmission cooler lines. Easy fix if caught early, expensive if not. Third, check the rear differential fluid. If it has not been changed, that tells you about the owner's maintenance habits more than anything else. Who should buy this? If you want a full-size V8 truck that can tow 9,000 lbs plus for the price of a used Civic, this is your play. If you can get past the Nissan badge on a truck, you will save $5,000 to $10,000 over a comparable Tundra. The Titan does not have the Toyota resale cult following, and that is exactly why it is sitting at a price that does not reflect how good it actually is. Top 3 Nissan Frontier with the 4.0 LV6. If the Titan is the truck nobody remembers, the Frontier is the truck nobody respects. And that is a mistake because Repair Pal ranks the Frontier as the most reliable midsize truck on the market. Let that sink in. Not the Tacoma, the Frontier. And it costs half as much. I have been tracking this for years. The second-generation Frontier that ran from 2005 all the way to 2021 is one of the longest production runs of any modern truck. Nissan barely changed it because they did not need to. The VQ40DE 4.0 LV6 makes 261 horsepower and has a documented history of going past 200,000 miles routinely. I have personally worked on Frontiers with over 280,000 miles that were still running on original transmissions. I have a customer right now with a 2013 Frontier and 245,000 miles. His biggest repair was a set of timing chain tensioners at 180,000 miles. It cost him $100. That is the most expensive thing he has done in 12 years of ownership. Average annual repair cost for the Frontier is $470 according to Repair Pal. That is lower than the Tacoma, lower than the Colorado, lower than the Ranger. You read that right. The cheapest truck to own in the midsize segment is the one nobody wants to talk about. Current market prices are honestly insulting for how good these trucks are. A 2014 to 2016 Frontier SV with the V6 crew cab under 100,000 miles, you are looking at $12,000 to $15,000. The same year Tacoma with comparable miles cost $22,000 to $27,000. That is a $10,000 to $12,000 gap for a truck that in my experience is just as reliable and costs less to maintain. Now here is the important caveat. The 2005 to 2010 models with automatic transmissions have a known issue called SMOD, the strawberry milkshake of death. Seriously, that is what mechanics call it. The radiator has internal transmission cooler lines that can fail, allowing coolant to mix with transmission fluid. If it happens, the transmission is done. The fix is simple. Either replace the radiator with an updated unit or reroute the cooler lines externally. If you are buying a 2005 to 2010 model, ask if this has been addressed. If it has not, walk away or budget $400 for a new radiator and consider it the best insurance money you will ever spend. From 2011 onward, Nissan also updated the timing chain tensioner guides, which were a known wear item on the earlier VQ40DE engines. The 2013 and 2014 model years are generally considered the sweet spot. Low complaint rates, proven drivetrain, and they are old enough now to have depreciated into bargain territory. The Frontier's body-on-frame construction with a fully boxed ladder frame means this thing can take a beating. The suspension is simple and tough. Parts are cheap and everywhere. If you are someone who does your own maintenance, the Frontier is one of the most DIY-friendly trucks on the market. Everything is accessible. I can do a brake job on one of these in my sleep. Who should buy it? If you want a mid-sized truck that will run forever, costs almost nothing to maintain, and you could not care less about having the newest infotainment screen, this is your truck. The interior on the older Frontiers looks like it was designed in 2004 because it was. But the engine and drivetrain underneath do not care about leather seats and touchscreens. They just run. But if you think the Frontier is overlooked, this next truck might be the single most ignored reliable pickup in America. The depreciation on these is honestly offensive. Top 4 Honda Ridgeline First Generation 2006-2014. I already know what half of you are thinking. That is not a real truck. And that attitude is exactly why you can buy one of the most reliable pickups Honda has ever built for $8,000 to $14,000. While people spend $25,000 on a Tacoma, that is not any more capable for what 95% of truck owners actually do. Let me tell you about a customer who changed my mind on the Ridgeline. About 3 years ago, a contractor came in. He was in his mid-50s, owned a landscaping company, and needed a truck for hauling equipment and materials around job sites. He was looking at a used F-150 with the EcoBoost. I asked him what he towed. He said, a small trailer, maybe 3,000 lbs maximum. I asked if he off-roaded. He laughed. I asked what he actually needed. He needed a bed, a tow hitch, all-wheel drive for winter, and something that would not break down on him because downtime cost him money. I pointed him to a 2012 Ridgeline RTL with 88,000 miles for $13,200. He looked at me like I was crazy. He bought it anyway. He texted me last month. He is at 167,000 miles now. He had the timing belt and water pump done at 110,000 miles. It cost about $1,100. He has done one set of brake pads and regular oil changes. That is it. His exact words, I should have bought this truck 10 years ago. The first generation Ridgeline runs Honda's legendary engine code J35, a 3.5L V6. This is the same engine family found in the Pilot, the Odyssey, and the Accord. It makes 250 horsepower. It uses a timing belt that you replace every 105,000 miles, and it just does not quit. The J35 has been in production across various Honda platforms for over 2 decades. It is one of the most proven V6 engines in the automotive world. RepairPal puts the Ridgeline's annual repair cost at $500 per year. Honda as a brand ranks first out of 32 car brands for overall reliability. And the Ridgeline's unibody construction means fewer components that can rattle, squeak, or wear out compared to a traditional body-on-frame truck. Here is the detail most truck guys refuse to acknowledge. The unibody design is actually an advantage for the way most people use a pickup. It rides smoother, it handles better, it is quieter on the highway, it gets better fuel economy. And the Ridgeline's in-bed trunk, a sealed lockable storage compartment built into the bed floor, is one of the most useful features ever put on a pickup truck. Nobody else has anything like it. Can it tow 10,000 lbs? No. Maximum towing on the first generation is 5,000 lbs. Can it crawl over boulders? No. Ground clearance is 7.87 inches. But if you are honest about what you actually use a truck for, hauling furniture, towing a small trailer, throwing lumber in the bed, driving to work every day, the Ridgeline does all of that while being more comfortable and cheaper to own than almost anything else with a bed. Inspection checklist. First, check the timing belt service history. If it is past 105,000 miles and it has not been done, budget $1,000 to $1,200 for the belt, water pump, and tensioners. This is the single biggest maintenance item on the truck. Second, Look for rust around the rear wheel wells and underneath. The first-generation Ridgeline's frame is integrated into the body, so any structural rust is a deal breaker. Buy a Southern truck if you can. Third, check all 4 differential fluids. Honda recommends changing them every 30,000 miles, and a lot of owners skip it. If the fluids are dark and gritty, the previous owner neglected basic maintenance. The 2009 to 2014 model years are the sweet spot. The 2009 Refresh brought a slightly more powerful engine with 250 horsepower and more torque, plus some interior updates. The 2012 to 2014 models added a rear-view camera and better audio connectivity. These are the ones you want. Here is the mechanic math. Buy a 2012 Ridgeline RTL for $12,000. Drive it for 100,000 miles. Spend maybe $3,500 on maintenance total, including the timing belt service. That is value most people are ignoring. That is 15.5 cents per mile for a truck with Honda reliability, a V6, all-wheel drive, and a bed. Find me a better deal in the pickup market. I will wait. Top 5 Toyota Tundra, second generation, 2007-2013. All right, that brings us to number 1. This is the truck I recommend more than any other to anyone looking for a used pickup under $15,000. When I tell people about it, they push back at first, then they drive one, then they buy one. If this kind of real talk is helping you, hit subscribe. I have more videos coming on the trucks that actually make sense versus the ones dealerships push. Your wallet will thank you. Number 1, the Toyota Tundra, second generation from 2007 to 2013. This is a full-size truck with the same iForce V8 that powered the Land Cruiser platform, the same reliability reputation as the Tacoma, towing capacity that embarrasses most of its competition, and it is selling for $8,000 to $15,000 because the average buyer thinks the only good Toyota truck is the one that says Tacoma on it. Let me tell you about my own experience with this truck because I do not recommend anything I have not seen work with my own eyes. 4 years ago, a buddy of mine bought a 2010 Tundra Crew Max with the 5.7 LV8. He paid $14,200 for it with 126,000 miles. Everyone told him he was nuts. Why not buy a newer truck? Why Toyota? That Tundra is too old. He texted me last week. He just rolled over 248,000 miles. You know what he has spent on repairs in 4 years? A water pump at 185,000 miles, about $650. A set of brake pads and rotors at 210,000 miles, around $380. And regular oil changes. The engine does not burn oil. The transmission shifts perfectly. The frame has 0 rust because he bought it from Arizona. That truck is going to hit 350,000 miles, and I am not exaggerating. I have personally seen these engines do it. Here is why I'm obsessed with the second-generation Tundra. The 5.7L 3URFE V8 in these things produces 381 horsepower and 401 pound-feet of torque. It is naturally aspirated. No turbos, no superchargers, no direct injection problems. It is a port-injected timing chain-driven V8 that Toyota deliberately kept simple, and simple engines last. This is the same engine philosophy Toyota used in the Land Cruiser 200 series. Over-engineer the drivetrain, use proven technology, and let the miles pile up. The 6-speed automatic transmission in the 2007 to 2013 Tundra is equally bulletproof. It is not trying to be clever with 10 speeds. It is a traditional torque converter automatic that Toyota refined over years of production. I have worked on these trucks past 300,000 miles with original transmissions. Now let us talk numbers because this is where it gets ridiculous. A 2010 to 2012 Tundra SR5 double cab with the 5.7 LV8 4x4 with 120,000 to 140,000 miles, you are looking at $12,000 to $15,000 on the used market right now. A same-year Toyota Tacoma with less power, less towing, and similar miles is $18,000 to $22,000. The Tundra is cheaper than the Tacoma, despite being a bigger, more powerful, more capable truck. Why? Because the Tacoma is a cult vehicle with cult pricing, and the Tundra flies under the radar. Compare it to the competition, a 2010 to 2012 Ford F-150 with a 5.0 L Coyote V8 at similar miles runs about $13,000 to $17,000. You are paying more for a truck with a less proven engine that requires more maintenance. The Silverado 1500 with the 5.3 V8 from the same era is comparable in price, but comes with active fuel management issues that will eventually cost you money. The Tundra just does not have those headaches. Repair costs on the Tundra are straightforward. Brake pads all around about $350, transmission fluid change $200. Spark plugs if you do them yourself, about $60 for iridium plugs that last 100,000 miles. Water pump, the only common wear item on the 5.7, about $600 to $700 at a shop. These are not scary numbers. These are oil change and forget about it numbers. When you are shopping for a second-generation Tundra, here is my inspection checklist. First, check the frame for rust. Toyota had a major frame rust issue on 2007 to 2008 Tundras, especially in northern climates. They issued a frame replacement program for affected trucks. If you are looking at one from those years, check if the frame was replaced or inspected. 2009 and later models had improved corrosion treatment. Buy a southern or western truck if possible. Second, check the secondary air injection system. Some 2007 to 2009 models had issues with the air injection pump valves corroding and throwing a check engine light. It is not a reliability issue per se, but the repair costs $1,500 to $2,000 if you need it done at a shop. Check for any pending codes before buying. Third, check the cam tower seals on the 5.7 LV8. On higher mileage trucks, these can develop minor oil seeps. Not a major issue, not a leak, just something to monitor. If it has already been addressed, even better. Fourth, and this is my pro tip, look for fleet trucks from construction companies or utility companies in dry climates. These trucks were maintained on a strict schedules, driven hard but cared for, and they depreciate faster because companies cycle their fleets every 150,000 to 200,000 miles. A fleet Tundra with 150,000 miles and complete service records is a better buy than a private truck with 90,000 miles and no paperwork. Who should buy it? Anyone who wants a full-size V8 truck that they can drive for the next 10 years without worrying about it. Anyone who tows boats, trailers, or equipment regularly. The Tundra is rated for 10,400 lbs of towing with the 5.7 LV8. Anyone who wants Toyota reliability in a package that costs $10,000 less than a Tacoma. And anyone smart enough to know that the badge on the tailgate does not determine how long the engine will last. Who should skip it? If fuel economy matters to you, the 5.7 LV8 gets about 13 miles per gallon in the city and 17 miles per gallon on the highway. It is not great. If you need a compact truck for city driving and tight parking, the Tundra is 228 inches long. It is a big truck, and if you are buying purely for resale in 3 years, the Tacoma will hold value better. The market still has not figured out the Tundra. Here is my final take. If I had to buy one used pickup truck right now to drive for the next 10 years with the lowest possible total cost of ownership, I would buy a second-generation Tundra with a 5.7 LV8 and not lose a single minute of sleep. It is the best-kept secret in the used truck market. Final summary and conclusion. So there it is. 5 pickups that the market forgot but mechanics did not. The Chevrolet Colorado with its 305 horsepower V6 and mid-size value. The Nissan Titan, the full-size V8 truck that nobody remembers but refuses to die. The Nissan Frontier, the most reliable mid-size truck on the market that costs half what a Tacoma does. The Honda Ridgeline, the truck that truck guys refuse to respect but secretly could not break if they tried. And the Toyota Tundra, the best full-size truck deal in America, hiding in plain sight. You now know 5 pickups you can buy for under $15,000 that will outlast trucks costing twice their price. Next time a salesman tries to steer you toward a 3-year-old Tacoma with 100,000 miles and a $24,000 price tag, you will know better. If you want to know which trucks have actually earned legendary status in the shop, the ones that just refuse to die no matter what their owners did to them, I made a whole video on that. That is 22 years of watching trucks come and go. Drive safe, take care of your truck, and it will take care of you. Take it or leave it. I will see you in the next one. If this breakdown changed the way you look at the used truck market, Please subscribe and like the video. We are uncovering the mechanical history that dealerships and manufacturers have tried to bury. Let's build a more reliable future for your garage. The next automotive treasure will be revealed soon.